Welcome to Super Comic Fun Times live birthday bash event. Yes, it's my birthday today, though really I am not born until 10:32 p.m. tonight, technically, but who wants to wait that long? I'll be probably in bed by then. So I bought this box from Groupon about 3 years ago, and it's been waiting for a video opportunity ever since. It's still morning here. I've still got a little bit of my bed hair. It was better earlier, but I spent a lot of time this morning researching music. It turns out that the music I used in some of my videos from the Windows 10 Photos app is copywritten, and so when I found that out, it's not like they're giving me a copyright strike, but they're monetizing my videos for other people. And right now, I've got a small channel, so nobody really knows about me or comes here, so it's not that big of a deal right now. But I can't find any information on the Windows Photo app or using the music in YouTube videos and that sort of thing. So I spent the time looking for free music. What I'd like is just something I could compose my own music with. I've got kind of a good ear for making things the way I like it. I just don't know anything about music beyond that. So anyways, what we're going to do this morning is go and open up this box and see what's in here. There might be 50 in here. There might be 60. I think this box is split evenly between Marvel and DC. And either this box or the box I opened on Jack Kirby's 100th birthday, the anniversary of his 100th birthday back in August, was guaranteed to contain one or two Silver Age classics. So we'll see what we get in here. It was very exciting yesterday to get the, excuse me one second, to get the very cool 1967 Justice League book. I looked at it closer later, and the staple in there is rusted out. It's so cool to find that. So let's see what I've got here. Oh, Marvel Comics mystery box. So maybe these are only Marvel comics. Maybe I was not all on board with DC back then. This is from 2015. This came on 9/23/2015. Oh, that's when I placed the order. So I'm not sure exactly when this would have arrived. It didn't say on the box. So let's see. First thing in here, I have to find my scissors again. Oh, there they are. That's right, this came with some sort of cup or mug or something. And this is a great birthday present to myself. You know, if you got an interest in something, you should get yourself a box of it. And open it up 3 years later. So what I got here is a Wolverine glass. Oh, that's a nice. It's tinted glass with Wolverine on it. Now, Wolverine is a Marvel character from the X-Men, created by Len Wein. He seems to have played a big part in this channel since it started. Since he died shortly after I started the channel. And one of the first big unboxings I did was the Swamp Thing book, which was a very good book. I haven't finished it yet, but I really enjoyed the parts of it I did read. So that's why this box was so big, because they had that cup in here. Okay, and then let's see what else we have here. That's it for the box. Oh. It also came with a T-shirt, so I'm planning on going see Black Panther later today, so I can wear this shirt. That's kind of cool. I forgot all about it. I kind of remember now. You had to choose your size. I went with extra large, but that's a cool Captain America shirt. Oh, I'm very happy. I'm very pleased with what I did for myself. I was watching a Twin Peaks documentary the other day, and it just reminded me of Kyle MacLachlan's character, Special Agent Dale Cooper. He says to the sheriff at some point, he goes, Harry, let me let you in on a secret. Every day, once a day, give yourself a gift. So what better time to give yourself a gift than on your birthday? Okay, so what do we got here? The Sensational She-Hulk, number 48. Wow. In this issue, your favorite villain, we guarantee it. So this is from 92, the 30th anniversary of The Amazing Spider-Man. And this looks like a fun book. So I don't remember what year the She-Hulk actually started. I don't know if this is the first volume or if they restarted it, but that looks cool. This is before they were doing the artists. This is before they were doing the artists' names on the book. So, well, very cool. Classic 90s action. Okay, and then here we have another X-Men book. Well, another one from around early 90s, it looks like, 125. Let me just take a look at it first. So, oh, this is X-Men 2099. Now, I know very little about the 2099 series. I've read the most of Spider-Man 2099 when he came into our world, I think during Dan Slott's Superior Spider-Man run, and then the Spider-Verse, which the Spider-Verse I should have liked, but I didn't like it. Superheroes from the mind of Clive Barker. Yeah, around this time, I was reading Clive Barker's Books of Blood, and he was making the most exciting horror movies of the time. Of course, a few years before this, let's see, this probably is late 90s. It's 175 or 94. So, you know, about a decade before this is when the first Hellraiser movie came out. And he was still very hot in the 90s. I don't hear much from Clive Barker anymore. The last time I remember seeing him was when Bill Maher show was still on ABC. The Web of Spider-Man, $1. Let's see, this is from, I don't see it. The Web of Spider-Man being $1, that seems like it's an early 90s book. I'm not sure when this book first came out, though. Jerry Conway is a writer. Oh, here it is, May 1990. So Jerry Conway, of course, wrote the very famous story where Gwen is killed when Spider-Man tries to save her. Apparently, he asked Stan Lee for permission to kill off Gwen. Stan apparently said, sure, go ahead. And then all the fans got mad, and he laid it back at Jerry Conway's feet. And then, of course, from that came the first Clone Saga, which led to the big Clone Saga in the 90s, which turned a lot of readers off eventually. I've got the first volume there. I'd actually ordered the second volume, but then I sent it back because of a price change, and I haven't reordered it. Here's Ultimate Spider-Man. So this is, I wonder if this is when Miles Morales was Spider-Man. It still looks like it's Peter Parker. I don't know when Miles Morales came in to the Ultimate Universe. I've never really read Miles Morales except for Spider-Verse. Strange Tales featuring, oh, Cloak and Dagger. They're getting their own show. They're going to be on pretty soon. I kind of remember when they first started, they lived in a church or something, and I remember getting one of their first appearances when I was a kid, and to be honest, they didn't impress me that much. Cloak created by Bill Mantlo and Ed Hannigan. I mean, to me, it's just, but these kids were being experimented on, and it was kind of like depressing. You know, Peter Parker gets his powers, and it's fun. They get their powers because of traumatic things that happened to them. So next up is Doctor Strange, 47. Will the real Doctor Strange please stand up? So this is the Sorcerer Supreme run, and it's an Infinity War crossover. So that's exciting. I've only read the trade paperback of that, and then this is the Infinity. Maybe I did read this one. I wore on Marvel's Marvel Unlimited, and I read the Infinity Gauntlet in the trade paperback edition. Cops, the job. Well, this one is at one point off of a $1.25 cover price. Never heard of this one. Again, it's one from '92, apparently. Going by this little logo where they're celebrating the 30th anniversary of Spider-Man. X Factor. This is from Marvel's 25th anniversary, so this is what, 88? Oh, this is cool. I wonder if I had this one. I read a few X Factors, and I got to where Apocalypse was transforming everybody. He was getting his 4 horsemen, and then I stopped reading it because I went back. Was I on leave, or was I just out of the army at that time and doing other things, like looking for a job and stuff? I don't remember. But I love anything from the 80s, so this will be fun to read again if I read it before. I don't think it's number 4, so I might have actually had that one, or happened to show up at I was in Germany at the time, excuse me, and Ramstein Air Force Base is where we would go. That was kind of like our mall. They had all the stores there, the big PX there, and that's where I got little bits and pieces of comic books. That's where I first got Pariah. Well, it was part of Born Again, Daredevil Born Again, Pariah. That was so good. I've never read the whole thing. I need to get that Frank Miller book at some point. And then here we've got Alpha Flight, number 1. The first double-sized issue. This is probably from the 80s too. Let's go ahead and look at this one. This one, the tape is quite old, so it's been in this pack for quite a while. And the trouble with that is I'll have to separate this one because the glue might get stuck. So it is a very thick book. And it is from '83. This is a very old one. Well, not very old, not as old as the '67 one, but yeah, it's pretty. It's back from when I graduated from high school, and so that's cool. I remember like being interested in Alpha Flight, but I think the stores I went to buy comic books, they weren't carrying it. I liked Sasquatch a lot, and I was later shocked when I found out he was a bad guy, or he became a bad guy, or the spirit of the Sasquatch turned whoever was the Sasquatch into a bad guy. Oh, look, this is what they did for first issues. Spider-Man was in there. It's like with the Dazzler. Dazzler's first appearance was in a Spider-Man comic book, which I never saw. And then I bought the first issue of the X-Men I ever bought was Dazzler's first appearance, and I bought it specifically because it had the Dazzler in it. Oh my God, it's a new universe. Jim Shooter's Greatest Failure. I actually liked it at the time. It was interesting. It was fun. I didn't know about any of the politics going on behind the scenes. And to me, it was just like this. Marvel was leading the way yet again. They had this new universe. So I don't know if I ever read Justice. I remember Kickers, and I remember DP7. DP7 stood for Displaced Persons, and there were 7 of them, and they lived in Wisconsin, and I was in, again, Germany at the time, so I was homesick a lot. So I really glommed onto that book for the 3 or 4 issues. I was able to read it before I moved on. So Justice. Yeah, I don't think I knew about this one. So So yeah, look at that. Red and blue. Red and blue turns up a lot. Ooh, what is this one? The official Marvel Index to the Fantastic Four. Oh, this is like that book I had yesterday, the Spider-Man book. And this is all, it's very prose heavy, and it tells you the history of the Fantastic Four. So I'm not sure how well these books did, considering, like, look how tiny that print is. And you know, me, I've never been good with tiny print, really. I kind of fall asleep. But it looks like it goes issue by issue with a synopsis, commentary, cameos, and that sort of thing. The Impossible Man, that was the second story. Oh, okay, so there were two stories in Fantastic Four number 11, and one starred the Fantastic Man. Was that it? The Impossible Man, that's right. So, I don't know if that was his first appearance, but we won't go through it now. Power Man and Iron Fist, number 88, 60 cents. So this is 1982. Now I had like a Luke Cage. I had like one where there were two stories, and one side was Power Man and one side was Iron Fist. And the whole Heroes for Hire thing bothered me because Spider-Man didn't have a job, and the Fantastic Four, as far as I knew, didn't get paid for being superheroes. So there was, you know, and I didn't understand like Mercenaries. That might have been before the A-Team. Like if I had read it post A-Team, I might have. But then the A-Team never ended up getting very much money for what they did too. Is like the people could never pay. Let's see. We Who Are About to Die, Strike Force Mortuary, The End of the War. So this is number 26. This is $1.50, so it's another 90s book. This is a book I don't know anything about, but here, Walter Simonson, Louise Simonson. So this is, they're advertising Havoc and Wolverine Meltdown. The first time I ran into Havoc was in this Hulk, like this big Treasury edition, which back in the day, they would just have these really giant comic books that they would reprint some older stories in. And I think Cry Havoc was the name of the story. And that was before I knew much about Shakespeare. The actual quote is like, Cry Havoc, and let's slip the dogs of war. But that story was just basically the Hulk. And Hulk was kind of hanging out in the desert. The Micronauts. So here's a classic from the 70s. I was talking about how I preferred the Micronauts to the Transformers. In fact, I didn't care about the Transformers at all. The Micronauts were cool because, you know, they could be anywhere. The microverse could be is all around you, and so I always thought the Micronauts were very cool, and I read a few issues of that. I only had one toy. I didn't have very many toys. And I talked about this guy yesterday too, Rom Space Knight. So that's cool. I don't know how many. I probably had this one as a kid. I had like the first year's worth, or this is issue 15. So I don't know. I stopped getting it when I went into the Army, I think, or maybe when I graduated from high school and I lived in Florida for a little while. Rom, no, don't kill the man I love. And yeah, the weird thing is Rom's power doesn't work on humans, and that's Brandy, and that was sort of like the female love interest throughout. Even though Rom, see, that was the thing about Rom, is like he wasn't a robot, but his spirit was somehow entered into the body of the Space Knight's armor suit, and that's how the Space Knights were. And so I'm not sure what they did when Venom or Carnage or whichever one was a Space Knight in later Marvel. Here we go, another Micronauts. These things that threaten us are lifeless dummies. Who or what could be making them attack? Now, even though I read this as a kid, I don't remember, like, seeing her now for the first time. I kind of remember her, but I don't really remember her. It's like one of those books I remember reading and enjoying and thinking I guess the concept was more interesting to me than the characters, and that's probably why it didn't last very long. I mean, you do have like this interesting group of characters, and I'll have to reacquaint myself with them. I remember like one of the big disappointments was what was it? Galactic Defender was one of the toys, and they used the toy in, I think, Micronauts Annual #1, and it was just a whole story about how they wanted this racial purity, and eventually they put everybody, because like genetic mutations would happen, they eventually froze their whole civilization, and Galactic Defender defended it and would just try to kill anybody. And it seemed kind of like a trite story at the time. Like you might find something like that in an episode of Logan's Run, the TV series. It was not an original idea, and I kind of felt it wasted the character of Galactic Defender. And you know, people kept asking for him, and I remember in one letters column, the writer said something like, "Well, that was in the Micronauts Annual. We already used him, but they didn't plan on using him again. They just, because I imagined a whole fleet, like it wasn't just one character. It was like you had an army of Galactic Defenders, and so I didn't really think just having the one was enough. I thought there should have been more." So then here we have the Invincible Iron Man, February 13. Here they're putting the names on the cover: Brusiak, Chen, and Stucker. Oh, this has a fold-out cover, but it's for an ad, which is for the PlayStation. So yeah, it'd be better if it was a fold-out cover. And even here, well, I guess you got some information here. So you got what previously happened. And I suppose it's better to put the previously happened on a fold-out, and then you can sell the ad space here, and then you don't take any pages away from the book. But this book seems pretty thick. I'm not sure when it's from. It's newsprint, but the artwork is better, but it's not the shiny paper that most comic books are printed on now. So this is from 1999. So yeah, maybe they still were using newsprint at the time. This is very fine printing on the newsprint. It's very nice. And Total Control is what it says on the cover. Giant-sized spectacular. So that's what, 6 years before the movie came out? When did the movie come out? 2008. So it's closer to 9 years. The Official Handbook of the Marvel Universe, Book of the Dead edition. Some of these things, I don't know what they are. This one, the cover goes all the way around the back. So that's kind of cool. And so this is another one that is kind of like, it just gives you all the stats on the characters. Well, this will be a good reference. Oh, Baron, is that Dr. I thought this was Baron Mordo at first, but it's somebody called Dr. Dorcas, Dr. Lemuel Dorcas. He's a marine biologist, but he looks like Dr. Strange's old foe, Baron Mordo, to me. Now, this is kind of cool. Cool reference. Oh, here's Dracula. Dracula's looking like Tony Stark here. Got that kind of devil-may-care look. Maybe Dracula is Tony Stark. Okay, so this was printed in '87, and the inside cover is the table of contents. So if you have any questions about any of these characters, or you hear about a character you never heard of. So, oh, there's a character named Egghead, which I know Egghead from Batman, as played by Vincent Price, the old TV show. Green Goblin. So, very interesting book. I like this cover art too. Now there, Dracula doesn't really look like Tony Stark. I don't know why he looks like Tony Stark in the book. And what is this? Marvel Superheroes Spring Special Moon Knight. And it also features Hercules, Magic, Black Panther, Brother Voodoo, and Speedball. That looks like a nice one. So this one is it's a $2.95 spring. So this would be a quarterly book. Spring special. Let's just take a quick look inside of it. Again, I don't really like having to fight the tape. Okay. Just put that down there. Okay, and then so 80-page blockbuster. So this is from 1990. Oh, that's a nice opening shot. Got Moon Knight there. Got two people in the background, like wondering, what the heck is this? It's like, that's exactly, it's like, a Hare Krishna here? Do Hare Krishnas even exist anymore? Comment down below. I have no idea. But this book looks pretty cool. I know a lot of people are a fan of Moon Knight. I remember reading Moon Knight in the late 70s or early 80s, but I don't remember much about him. And I think I might have confused him sometimes with the Taskmaster. The Taskmaster was one of my favorite villains at the time, and he had just been introduced somewhere around there. It's like, I don't always remember the year, but I remember study hall, like, reading. I read a lot of comic books in study hall when I was in high school. Luckily, I have a pretty good memory, so I didn't need to study all that much. And studying boring stuff. So here's another web of Spider-Man. So yeah, this again is around the early 90s, I would guess. Maybe as early as 89. They're armed, they're dangerous, war zone. Oh, here you have the Grey Hulk. So if you know when the Grey Hulk was a thing, I'm not sure that's Mr. Fix-It Hulk, but I remember he came back, like they don't, oh, here's a Secret War. Oh my God, this one I remember from, I've got the big box set. And oh, look at this. Somebody used, instead of tape, they used like the backing of a VCR label. But anyways, this is an original Secret War. This is, I don't think this is during the original Secret War. This is the one where Dr. Doom, I think, dies maybe? I can't remember. It's like Secret War 2 continues in this one. And so this is like from 87, I would guess. 86. So this came out in March of 86. And I read this story in the big library box set of Secret Wars that came out about 2 years ago. And I really loved that, especially like the Secret Wars 1 and 2. And then they have some other supplementary material and kind of like, what is it? They also have, is it Secret War? I can't remember, but there's one where, what's his name? Nick Fury sends all these heroes off to Latveria because Dr. Doom is supplying super weapons to super villains, something like that. That's included in that big box set too. Here we go. Here is Weapon X. This is from the Age of Apocalypse. So this is going to be, now I understand there's more than one Age of Apocalypse. So this one is probably, the artwork looks familiar. It might be in the omnibus I've got. Okay, this one is actually sealed, so I don't think I'm going to open that one. Let's see. Then I would have to use tape, and tape is bad. Oh, here's a Solomon Kane. I just opened up a Solomon Kane on my first birthday special. So I've got an extra issue of number 5. That's kind of cool. And here's the last one from this box. Solo number 2. I don't know this one at all. So yeah, this one is another one with a bit of yellowed cellophane tape holding it in. Direct edition. This is from 1994. Oh, this is a very nice opening. See, this like grabs you. You got that guy just, is he grimacing or grinning? What's he saying? Okay, boys, let's see what you're made of. Just don't get any of it on me. And yeah, and it's kind of cool. So he is kind of grimacing because he's about to go into a fight. So I don't know. This was kind of a cool. It's not my favorite one. I mean, the glass is kind of cool. And I'll have to put that someplace, keep it safe. And the t-shirt is very cool. I'll definitely be wearing that when I go see Black Panther tonight. And then, they have a nice set of books. like if I was doing it today, I might have just gone for the whole DC pack. I think the one I got, the other one I did back in August was the one that was a split between DC and Marvel. And then this one, like back in 2015, I was still heavy into Marvel, and now I have this preference for DC stories, especially like stuff around Infinite Crisis. And I can't wait to start in on Rebirth eventually. And then tomorrow is Comic Book Girl 19's Watchmen Club, and I have to get caught up reading on that. I missed last week's show. I have to find the videos for that too, because I went to some Indian mounds last week. And I think I'm going to go ahead and draw this to a close. If you're, thank you for watching. We've got one viewer, so and I will talk to you again soon. Maybe I'll do a movie review before I go to bed tonight after seeing Black Panther. So again, thank you for your patronage. Remember to subscribe, hit the like button, and hit the little notification bell. And I will talk to you soon.